Chelsea reach agreement in principle to sign Malo Gusto, and Moises Caicedo drops a massive bombshell regarding his future. Hello there guys, what is going on? Daniel Childs back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Hope you're doing well, hope you're keeping safe on this weekend. Big news to speak of, Chelsea, another signing in this busy period for the club, and also the potential of a midfielder arriving before the end of the January transfer window. If you like the sound of that, make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads on the channel. Also hit that like button because it helps out as well. And if you want to listen to the podcast, you can, because SonOfChelsea is a part of the 90 Min podcast network. We had the brilliant Lyon on from The Athletic this week, breaking down the latest Chelsea news. Make sure to go and listen to that podcast in full, link in the description box below. But let's get into the news. Firstly here with Malo Gusto. Chelsea reach agreement to sign the Lyon right back. This was originally reported on Friday by Fabrice Hawkins, but then backed up by David Ornstein in The Athletic, that the West London side have agreed to pay €30 million, that's around £26 million, plus add-ons for the services of the 19-year-old, who will join the club in the summer, so he will be loaned back to Lyon for the rest of this season. The French under-21 international now looks set to become Chelsea's seventh signing of the January window, following the arrivals of Benoit Badiashile, David Datro Fofana, Joao Felix, Andre Santos, Mikhailo Mudryk and Nodi Madueke. Big piece of news, exciting piece of news it really is from a Chelsea perspective to get this player in. And I do like the fact that Chelsea haven't compromised. They haven't gone, okay, we can't get this player now, so let's go for someone else dramatically in the final few days. There's just, to appease people for the next 6 months. That is what I praised the club this time last year for not doing at left back. All those kind of rumours about Luca Dean and other players in the January window trying to buy back Emerson, who was still our player. All that nonsense. It's not good to do that. That's a real short-term approach. I like the fact that they've clearly targeted Malo Gusto as a young right back that they feel could be a really good signing. And they go, okay, we can't get him right now, but let's pay the money right now to get him for the summer, like they have with Christopher Nkunku. I like that approach. And sure, Graham Potter's going to have to deal with that for the next few months in the Premier League and the Champions League and whatever, but I like the fact that Chelsea have at least addressed an area that we know is going to be addressed by the summer, and being proactive is really good. So there isn't that stress in the summer of approaching this deal, and we can focus on other areas like central midfield potentially if that does not get done in this window. So I really like that. And I've said before, it's about having that player who hopefully can complement Reece James. It's a really difficult deal, and I think Chelsea deserve praise for getting it done, for convincing someone to come in with the knowledge that if Reece James remains fit and hits top form, then there's a possibility you're not playing. But there also is the potential, as maybe I haven't brought up, and maybe because I'm not that big of a fan of it, but let's say Reece James plays right centre-back, say in maybe a 4-back system, but also a 3-back system, and then that offers Gusto the chance to play at right wing-back maybe, or, you have them switching. So it's interesting, it really is, and I think for the player it's exciting for him to come into Chelsea, and it very much lines up with the scouting and the profiling of players that we've been doing this month. And I think the deal itself for the fee, good money, and hopefully he turns out to be a good signing for Chelsea. Those key things that I look at with the Chelsea team and what we lack when we don't have Reece James is, say you've got Cesar Azpilicueta on that side, there's always that fear if you ask him to press up, and we know at times Dave, when he gets up, can offer things, but when he's not, and that there's always that threat, particularly when we're playing 4 at the back, that a ball could be hit behind us. The Nottingham Forest game, I think, is a prime one for me. I mean, there are many games you can pick out where not having Reece James and not having suitable cover for Reece James has been so abundantly obvious and why it needed to be rectified soon. But I feel that Nottingham Forest game on New Year's Day was such a brilliant example of what we lack, and it really, I think, prevents Chelsea from staying high up the pitch, from holding possession, from having a little bit more risk and freedom in our play to do things. So hopefully that is what Gusto offers. And even if Reece James remains fit, and say we get Europa League football and not Champions League football, there's still going to be a number of games, at least in the first part of next season, to be playing. So I think Gusto will get time to play for Chelsea. He really will. We're going to speak about Moises Caicedo now. He dropped this bombshell. So Chelsea make the bid for Caicedo last week, 55 million, rejected by Brighton. In the last few days, Arsenal have come into the equation. It's Mudryk part 2 all over again. But this time, apparently Arsenal are trying to hijack the deal for Caicedo from Chelsea. They've submitted a 60 million bid. that has been rejected. But Moises Caicedo last night on social media has dropped this bombshell, which really changes the complexion of things ahead of transfer deadline day. This is what he had to say. I'm grateful to Mr. Bloom and Brighton for giving me the chance to come to the Premier League, and I feel I have always done my best for them. I always play football with a smile and with heart. My dream always was to be the most decorated player in the history of Ecuador. I am proud to be able to bring in a record transfer fee for Brighton, which would allow them to reinvest it and help the club continue to be successful. He goes on to say, the fans have taken me into their hearts and they will always be in my heart, so I hope they can understand why I want to take up this magnificent opportunity. So he's effectively saying there, please get me out of this club. It's a very nice way of not turning heel completely on Brighton fans. Speaking to a Brighton fan recently, in terms of it being kind of 100 million or nothing, we will see now, because this changes the negotiating position. Brighton can still hold firm, they really can, and say, listen, we'll grant you your wish in the summer. But we know in these situations, at times, money talks, and if a player isn't being involved with training, we've seen Anthony Gordon in recent days at Everton, now a Newcastle player. At times things will break, and if Arsenal and Chelsea smell something now, which they see this statement from Caicedo and go, we can go all in and maybe get a lower fee than what Brighton had a few days ago. That negotiating stance and position has changed now. It really has. So the question now falls to Chelsea: will they go above and beyond to sign Moises Caicedo, with Arsenal in the fray as well, and what Arsenal can offer of the potential of a Premier League title chance? I think what Chelsea offer, obviously, is that if you come in as a central midfielder, you are a massive building block within the shape of Chelsea. You really are, compared to, say, Arsenal, where they already have a very settled system. And I guess it's that kind of question with Mudryk as well, is do you go to somewhere that's settled but you won't be an instant first team, or do you go somewhere where you can really become a star? I think that's a big question. So I think the ball's in Chelsea's court now. Will they respond to that Arsenal bid? Will they go in and try and make this still happen? I think it's going to be very interesting. And also what Brighton do. Will Brighton hold firm on Moises Caicedo before transfer deadline day? I think this is one that, it could be wrapped up very quickly. We could know either way before transfer deadline day, but I get the sense this is going to go into deadline day, which is going to make things very interesting, and we will be covering on the channel. But that is it for today's edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch and listen. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at SonOfChelsea. Follow me on TikTok as well at SonOfChelsea, and I will see you again very soon. All the best.